Charleston 1780. The streets lie quiet under the gray dawn, cobblestones slick with morning mist. A regiment of black soldiers marches slowly, muskets slung over their shoulders. Their faces carry the weight of battles unseen, sacrifices, unrecorded courage, hidden beneath the heavy cloth of colonial uniforms. Some will return, others will vanish into the shadows of history, fate unknown. You hear the soft shuffle of boots against stone, the distant clang of cannon faint yet lingering, a ghostly echo of conflicts that no one dared to speak of. The wind carries whispers along the harbor, whispers of men forced to fight for a freedom they could not claim. A cabin on the outskirts, smoke curling from its chimney, the scent of burnt wood mingles with the morning dew. Somewhere a child's cry pierces the dawn, perhaps a child of a family waiting, hoping, or perhaps only a shadow imagined. The regiment passes their eyes, scanning the streets, alert to every sound, every flicker in the mist. And behind them, the ghosts of those who marched before seem to follow silently, unseen, haunting, whispering warnings no one can fully comprehend. The history books remain silent about these men, reports filed under unknown missing in action or omitted altogether. Yet folklore remembers, tales passed down among freedmen whispered in cabins at night. Ghost stories of soldiers who returned only in dreams, marching endlessly across the same cobblestones, never resting. Superstitions grew around the regiment. Some said the sound of drums in the dark carried messages from the beyond. Others believed that if you crossed their path at midnight, you might glimpse a shadow that was not entirely human, a spirit still bound to duty, still carrying the weight of what they were forced to do. In the midst of Charleston's dawn, the regiment advances, every step measured precise. Each soldier aware that the world may not remember them, that the history they are making will be buried beneath layers of paper, ink, and the biases of those who wrote the chronicles. And yet they march, because courage, though unrecorded, still moves. Though their names may vanish, their actions echo, faintly at first, then louder, carried in the folklore and whispered songs and the rhythms of drums and the tolling of bells that mark the passing of time, marking the presence of those who will not be forgotten entirely. Somewhere behind the regiment, an abandoned plantation stretches into shadow. The wind moves through broken shutters, overgrown paths. It carries voices from the past. Men and women enslaved, escaping, hiding, disappearing into forests and riverbanks. Their fates unknown, yet intertwined with the soldiers who now march silently through Charleston. A connection that no paper, no report could ever fully record. Yet it lives. In the air, in the soil, in the lingering scent of smoke and sweat, in the very rhythm of boots against cobblestones. And so, the march continues, unbroken, despite fear, despite uncertainty. The line of soldiers becomes a thread linking past, present, and future, a testament to survival, to resistance, to courage that defies recognition. And somewhere perhaps the shadows bend to observe, silent witnesses to acts that history dared not name. October 1780. Charleston lies draped in early morning fog, the harbor still and silent. Ships creak at their moorings, rigging swaying in the chill breeze. Soldiers gather on cobblestone streets, muskets, ready eyes scanning every shadow. Smoke from distant skirmishes drifts over rooftops, mingling with the scent of salt water and damp earth. The city holds its breath as though aware that unseen forces are at play. Beyond the city limits, the plantation lands stretch endlessly. Cane fields shimmer in the pale light, but beneath their waving stalks, secrets linger. Abandoned cabins lean at odd angles, their wooden walls whispering stories of escape of families torn apart. Ghostly silhouettes are said to flit between the trees at dusk, children vanishing into forests, adults never returning. Yet the soldiers march carrying the weight of battles fought and lives erased. In the town center, a church bell tolls softly, each chime echoing across deserted streets. Windows reflect the gray sky, fractured panes hinting at years of neglect and hidden tales. Local folk speak in hushed tones of phantom regiment soldiers who march silently at night, unseen by all but those who listen closely. Some claim that the rhythm of their boots can still be heard beneath the cobblestones, a pulse connecting past and present. The atmosphere thickens with tension. Horses whinny nervously in distant stables, and the wind carries the faint clatter of drums from unseen sources. Every alley and doorway seems alive with history, with moments that refuse to be forgotten. Soldiers advance cautiously, aware that each step could uncover a secret, a warning, or a trace of what the world has tried to erase. Shadows bend unnaturally, as if watching, waiting, acknowledging deeds done in silence. A sudden cry pierces the fog from a nearby alley. The soldiers freeze momentarily, scanning the dim outline of buildings. Was it a child? A messenger? Or simply the wind carrying a warning from centuries past? The tension tightens, the air heavy with anticipation. Every breath feels measured, every heartbeat amplified. They know they are part of a story that blends fact and folklore, truth and rumor, life and memory. The forest at the edge of town looms dark and endless. Branches claw at the sky, twisted and bare hiding paths trodden by those who vanished long ago. Folk tales tell of spirits who lead travelers astray, of men who disappeared mid-journey, their fates unknown. The soldiers' march cuts a path through this living history, aware that the shadows around them are not merely absence, but presence, observing, judging, waiting. The scent of smoke and sweat mingles with that of wet earth and fallen leaves. Sunlight struggles through the dense canopy, casting long, fractured beams across the soldiers' faces. Each uniform, each musket, each careful step speaks of preparation, of discipline, of survival. Yet beneath the surface, a haunting awareness persists. History watches, folklore whispers, and the past refuses to remain buried. Along the outskirts, the river bends quietly, hiding small boats and secret crossings. Runaway slaves once fled along these waters, guided by moonlight and the soft whisper of the wind. Soldiers' eyes catch fleeting ripples in the current, wondering if the past moves alongside them still. Legends say that spirits of the departed linger here, marking the paths of those who dared to escape. And still the march continues, steady, resolute. Smoke rises from a distant warehouse. The faint scent of charred timber drifts over the city, mingling with the smell of wet cobblestones. Folks speak of phantom fires, sudden blazes that consume property then vanish with the dawn. The soldiers march past, alert, each footfall echoing across alleys empty of witnesses. Every shadow seems to contain a story, a warning, or a memory too painful to speak aloud. A marketplace lies, abandoned carts, overturned produce, rotting under a gray sky. Locals whisper that the town was once bustling, then emptied overnight after a curse fell on Charleston. Soldiers pass through, unaware of the exact cause, yet sensing a lingering presence. Windows stare like dark eyes, observing the regiment's slow progression. Some say the market spirits rise when no one looks, their footsteps mimicking those who march today. Across the harbor, masts creak, sails flap idly in the cold breeze. Ships that once carried goods and lives now sit as hollowed reminders of commerce and captivity. Folklore claims that spectral crews still tend the decks at night, guiding or warning the living. Soldiers glance toward the water, unease prickling along their spines, yet they continue, bound by orders and a sense of duty. Alongside the soldiers, stray animals appear, foxes, dogs, and birds, all unusually quiet. Folktales suggest that animals sense spirits, act as messengers, or observe events the human eye cannot see. Each movement of the regiment seems to awaken something in the shadows. Even the wind itself carries a warning, a story, a memory that refuses to rest. An abandoned chapel stands at the edge of the town, its doors hanging loosely on rusted hinges. Pews are broken walls, streaked with years of rain. Yet a faint hymn seems to linger, carried by the breeze. Soldiers pause, sensing the weight of unseen observers. Ghostly voices, legends claim, echo the prayers of those enslaved, interweaving with the regiment's march, creating a tapestry of sorrow and resilience. Across narrow streets, shadows shift unnaturally. A child's laughter, fleeting, unnerving. A drumbeat off rhythm, yet familiar. Fact and folklore entwine here, creating a space where time feels fluid. Soldiers continue their march, unaware of how many layers of history and myth surround them, each step a connection to lives lived and lost. The city's outskirts open to fields overgrown, where fences have rotted and paths are obscured by weeds. Legends say these lands were once used for training, punishment, or escape. The regiment treads carefully, every footstep measured, aware that the soil beneath them holds stories of courage, fear, and endurance. Shadows of the past rise subtly with each passing. Night approaches slowly, the sky turning from gray to deep indigo. Lanterns flicker in distant windows, casting elongated shapes across streets and fields. Soldiers' silhouettes stretch, mingling with imagined phantoms. Folklore insists that when darkness falls, the past walks alongside the living, guiding, warning, haunting. The wind whistles through ruined fences, carrying the scent of salt earth and smoke. Soldiers tighten their grips on muskets, eyes darting toward every flicker in the fog. Tales of vanished comrades, runaway slaves, and phantom regiments seem to hover in the air, unspoken yet tangible. Each step carries both fact and legend, forward bridging centuries. Finally, a hill overlooks the city. The regiment pauses, silhouettes stark against the dimming sky. From this vantage point, history stretches before them. Each shadow, each echo, every distant sound reminds them, and the listener, of the interwoven tapestry of bravery, loss, and haunting memory that defines Charleston's past. The march continues, unseen forces observing the city, holding its breath once more. Records from the Freedmen's Bureau note men listed as absent without trace, names scratched, crossed, forgotten. Each entry a life, a story, a bravery unrecorded. Yet folklore persists. Ghostly tales whispered in cabins and taverns. Stories of soldiers appearing in dreams, marching endlessly under moonlit skies, returning to warn or guide the living. A runaway slave ad from 1780 describes a man disappearing along the riverbanks. Fact, he vanished, leaving nothing but footprints in the mud. Folklore adds color. Witnesses claim seeing shadows moving along the water, musket slung across shoulders, eyes glowing faintly in the mist. The past bleeds into the present, and every river bend holds a memory not yet released. Military dispatches report phantom regiments moving at night. Officers puzzled chronometers, noting strange intervals of missing men. Yet the folklore layer whispers of spectral battalions. Soldiers said to return nightly, marching silently, their footsteps echoing across cobblestone streets, reminding the living of debts unpaid, courage unrecognized, lives unresolved. A cabin on the outskirts holds a journal, damp and faded. Fact, it records supplies, troop movements, and a list of men who did not return. Folklore. Some say the cabin's walls hum with voices, whispers of those lost. Doors creak open on their own, lanterns flicker. The journal becomes a conduit between memory and myth, history and haunting. An eyewitness recounts a night ambush, soldiers vanishing in the fog. Fact reports confirm confusion, miscommunication, and casualties. Folklore locals insist that the men were guided by unseen hands, disappearing into the mist, their shadows lingering until dawn. Every account blurs reality, with legend a testimony to courage enshrouded in mystery. Runaway slave narratives tell of those aided by the regiment moving in silence through plantations. Fact documented escape routes, safe houses, and river crossings. Folklore, shadows of soldiers appear as guides invisible until directly needed, leaving an impression on both the land and collective memory. Courage travels unseen, yet remembered in whispered legends. Newspaper clippings of 1780's Charleston note missing battalion. Fact, official records declare the men absent, fate unknown. Folklore children speak of footsteps that do not belong, of drums beating in the night when no regiment is present. History and myth entwine. Every stone, every street seems to carry the imprint of men who once marched. Letters between officers mention inexplicable sightings on the march. Fog, low visibility, confusion. Folklore soldiers appear on rooftops and alleyways, watching, protecting, guiding. Eyes that are not human, yet familiar. The line between fact and legend dissolves. The battlefield becomes a space where courage and haunting coexist. Accounts of sudden alarms, unexplained signals in the dark. Fact, misfired cannons, misplaced troops, communications lost. Folklore villagers report seeing phantoms alerting comrades, marching silently, readying themselves as if the regiment continues its duty beyond death. Each report a layering of fear and reverence, grounded in truth, amplified by memory. Diaries recovered from soldiers describe nights of relentless marching. Fact, fatigue, poor rations, exposure. Folklore passages note voices carried by the wind, shadow figures crossing paths, objects moving on their own. The written word captures not just actions, but the weight of the unseen, the spectral presence that accompanies those bound to service and sacrifice. A map of Charleston marks safe houses and escape routes. Fact-verified paths used for moving troops and fugitives. Folklore legends claim the paths were protected by invisible soldiers, stepping aside only for those deemed worthy. Courage becomes both tangible and intangible, anchored in history yet floating through stories whispered at night. Reports of soldiers disappearing mid-march. Fact stragglers lost accounts incomplete. Folklore. Local tales insist that the missing continue to march in parallel, never stopping, guiding others while remaining unseen. History is incomplete, yet memory fills the gaps, creating a haunting continuity. A plantation overseer notes men vanishing near the river. Fact: the disappearance was logged, yet no trace remained. Folklore: spirits walking the riverbanks at night, muskets in hand, eyes glowing, guiding or warning the living. Each anecdote layers upon the next, blending fact and story into a living archive of courage and mystery. Letters from freedmen speak of guidance, invisible hands, subtle signs during escapes. Fact: coordination and logistics confirmed by records. Folklore: whispers of soldiers seen only in reflections, heard only in drumbeats, moving unseen yet profoundly present. The past persists in memory and myth, entwined, inseparable. Official rosters list men absent, fate unknown. Fact: many were never accounted for. Folklore tales say that these men continue to march in spectral formations, appearing to protect, warn, or inspire. Every street, every field, every forested path carries their echo, their silent valor, remembered in stories even when history forgets. Observations of lights in the forest at night. Fact: lanterns used for signaling. Folklore: flickering lights guide soldiers invisible to ordinary eyes, leading lost souls, ensuring passage. History and legend overlap, creating layers of narrative that defy full comprehension. Shadows move independently of their owners. Fact: low sunlight, optical illusions. Folklore: villagers swear they saw figures walking where no one stood. The soldier's duty extends beyond flesh and time, bridging fact and myth in a tapestry of courage and haunting memory. Rumors of soldiers appearing to those in need. Fact: soldiers present at raids and patrols. Folklore: spectral formations appear at night, guiding the helpless, warning of danger, silently teaching courage. Fact and legend merge, creating a continuum of remembrance, honoring those who served, those who vanished, those who remain. One night, a young soldier vanishes near the river bend. Fact: no trace, no witness. Folklore: locals whisper that he marches still unseen, guiding those who follow secret paths, his footsteps echoing faintly in the mist. Every disappearance adds weight to the regiment's silent legend. A plantation at the city's edge burns unexpectedly. Fact: accidental fire reported in official logs. Folklore: witnesses insist the flames appear and vanish overnight, spectral signals of unrest, a warning or a message from beyond. Soldiers pass cautiously, aware that history and myth intertwine in every flicker. Midnight drills become chaotic. Fact: poor visibility, miscommunication, a few soldiers missing temporarily. Folklore: drum beats in the dark guide, or confused depending on who listens. The living and the unseen share the streets, each step a negotiation between reality and legend. An abandoned cabin holds a lone journal. Fact: notes of troop movements and missing men. Folklore: the cabin hums with voices, whispers of those lost or never returned. Soldiers glimpse shadows in corners that vanish when approached, leaving only unease. Children in Charleston report seeing soldiers march through walls. Fact: no living men reported in the area. Folklore: spirits of the regiment protect or test, teaching courage and warning of danger. Every account blurs lines between history and myth, leaving fear and reverence intertwined. A messenger is sent to a distant fort. Fact: delayed or missing entirely. Folklore: he is said to have been guided by invisible comrades, unseen, but directing a spectral presence, ensuring messages arrive. Each mission carries both fact and legend along its path. River crossings grow perilous. Fact: treacherous currents, limited visibility. Folklore: shadows guide the soldiers, unseen hands steering boats and wagons. Those who follow the tales swear by the protection of men unseen, walking in parallel with the living. The town bell rings unexpectedly. Fact: maintenance or weather could explain it. Folklore: some claim it tolls for those lost, calling attention to deeds unrecorded or warning the living of imminent danger. Soldiers pause, listening, aware that every sound may carry unseen meaning. A sudden commotion in a marketplace. Fact: stray animals collapsing carts. Folklore: phantom soldiers passing unseen, rehearsing drills of the past. Footsteps echo where none should tread, teaching respect, courage, and caution. Lanterns flicker in deserted alleys. Fact: wind weak flame. Folklore: guiding lights for those lost, signals from those who vanished long ago. Soldiers follow instinctively, unaware how much legend guides their steps. A merchant reports shadowy figures on rooftops. Fact: misperception in fog. Folklore: spectral observers of the regiment recording, judging, sometimes protecting. Each sighting reinforces the mythos of unseen valor. Horses neigh frantically in the night. Fact animals sense disturbances. Folklore, they react to spectral presence, unseen soldiers moving silently among the living. The regiment progresses with heightened awareness, walking in the intersection of reality and legend. A bridge collapses mysteriously. Fact, old timbers neglect. Folklore villagers insist the fallen were guided away by ghostly hands or led others to safety. Every collapse, every obstacle becomes part of the haunted narrative of the regiment. Soldiers report hearing voices giving directions. Fault echoes environmental sounds. Folklore messages from the fallen invisible guides, ensuring survival of those present. Courage is taught not just by orders, but by the whispers of history. Fires appear and vanish in empty lots. Fact smoldering debris. Folklore, supernatural warnings, spectral signals to prevent disaster, or to remind the living of deeds unrecorded. Each flicker strengthens the tension between fact and legend. A midnight watch notices lights across the river. Fact lanterns on distant ships. Folklore eyes of unseen comrades observing signaling guarding a parallel world marching alongside reality. Soldiers sense a presence silent but commanding respect. Reports of phantom musket fire. Fact distant skirmishes, misfired weapons. Folklore spectral volleys echo from soldiers lost marking territory, asserting presence. Each sound reinforces the dual narrative of courage and haunting. Strange footprints appear beside the regiment. Fact animal tracks weather. Folklore, the prints match missing soldiers walking unseen, guiding warning accompanying the living. Every footfall blurs lines between history, myth, and memory. A distant drumbeat signals alarm. Fact training exercise, wind resonance. Folklore, spectral regiment, rehearsing unseen but ever present. The soldier's journey continues shadowed by echoes of those who marched before, teaching vigilance and courage. Fog thickens suddenly, streets vanish. Backed early morning mist. Folklore spirits accompany the march, guiding through the opaque, protecting or testing. Each layer of mist conceals more than the terrain, it conceals centuries of stories, courage, and unresolved fates. Official reports from Charleston confirm missing soldiers. Fact logs record men who never returned, names crossed out listed as fate, unknown. Folklore whispers say these men continue to march in the mist, invisible to most, guiding those still living. Their courage persists, remembered in legend even when erased from record. A river crossing goes awry. Fact strong currents, unsteady boats, a soldier falls. Folklore villagers claim the water itself rises to lift the fallen back to shore, guided by unseen hands. The line between reality and myth dissolves, creating a haunting continuity. Diaries recount nights of phantom footsteps. Fact soldiers report fatigue, hallucinations, low visibility. Folklore. The sounds match men who vanished years ago, echoing in rhythm with the present regiment. The past intersects with the present, every footfall charged with memory. A journal found in an abandoned cabin details troop movements. Fact supplies, patrols, men absent. Folklore. The ink seems to move, letters shift under the eye, recounting events not yet experienced. History bleeds into legend, creating a tapestry that guides the imagination. Reports of strange signals at night. Fact misfired cannons, misplaced lanterns. Folklore spectral figures are said to direct the living soldiers, silently correcting mistakes, protecting against dangers unseen. Each signal blurs lines between fact and story, teaching vigilance and courage. Children near the docks claim to see soldiers appear and disappear. Fact, no soldiers recorded in the area at those times. Folklore, spectral troops guiding or testing, teaching lessons to the living. Every glimpse strengthens the legend. Every absence deepens the mystery. Letters from officers detail confusion and lost men. Fact, miscommunication, fog, scattered patrols. Folklore, invisible soldiers appear on rooftops, silently monitoring, ensuring safety, their presence felt but unseen. Courage continues quietly in shadow. A warehouse fire breaks out. Fact accident or arson remains undetermined. Folklore witnesses insist shadows moved objects guided others to safety. Spectral hands directing the living through chaos. History and legend entwine in each flicker of flame. Strange lantern lights appear in deserted alleys. Fact wind optical illusions. Folklore lights guide the lost signal comrades, or mark paths where vanished soldiers once walked. The city becomes a living archive of courage and haunting memory. Horse neighs and sudden animal movements. Sessed animals sense disturbances. Folklore. These reactions indicate spectral presence, unseen soldiers accompanying, guarding, or teaching. Every sound and shadow deepens the tension, blending fact and folklore. A soldier's journal describes ghostly encounters. Fact hallucinations stress low visibility. Folklore figures moving in unison with the regiment, giving silent signals unseen guidance. Memory and legend overlap, creating an almost sentient battlefield. The plantation at the outskirts shows signs of disturbance. Fact weather wildlife. Folklore. Ghosts of escaped slaves and fallen soldiers interact with the living, marking courage and warning of danger. Each site is layered with stories that refuse to die. Footprints appear where no one should have stepped. Fact. Animal tracks or erosion. Folklore. They match missing soldiers walking unseen alongside the living regiment, guiding and protecting. Every step reinforces the continuum of history and legend. A distant drumbeat echoes. Fact. Distant training wind resonance. Folklore, spectral regiment, practicing silently, unseen but ever present, instilling discipline and awareness. The rhythm becomes a bridge across time, linking past and present. A town square stands, empty chairs overturned. Bonk, deserted neglect. Folklore, phantom soldiers move unseen, practicing drills, repeating actions of their lives, imprinting the space with courage and vigilance. Shadows animate history. Lanterns flicker in abandoned streets. Fact, wind weak flames. Folklore lights guide the regiment, invisible yet deeply felt, carrying knowledge of past actions and lost comrades. The interplay of light and shadow teaches courage. A riverboat appears to float unnaturally. Fact, current reflection. Folklore. Ghostly crew accompanies soldiers unseen, guiding journeys, marking paths that blend the real and the spectral. Courage extends beyond death. Messages left for missing men. Fact, letters undelivered, misrouted. Folklore. Spectral hands carry messages unseen, ensuring duty is fulfilled. Every act of valor resonates even across centuries. Shadows lengthen unnaturally over fields. Fact, late sunlight perspective. Folklore, as soldiers who vanished appear in the shadows, guiding, observing, protecting. Memory and myth overlap, creating an invisible continuum. Midnight mist envelops the regiment. Fact, natural fog. Folklore, spectral figures march silently alongside, invisible yet influencing every step, reminding the living of courage, sacrifice, and the stories untold. The line between past and present blurs, leaving echoes of valor and haunting memory. Documents surface torn and water-stained, work orders, rosters, and patrol logs. Folklore whispers insist the papers move at night, rewriting themselves, showing men long vanished, guiding the living toward unseen truths. Every line inked becomes both history and haunting. Witnesses recall the vanished soldiers appearing on moonlit streets. Fact, sporadic sightings, misidentified figures. Folklore, spectral battalions march silently beside the living, unseen yet commanding attention, every footstep resonating with valor, unrecorded. Tension grows as past and present collide. A long-forgotten cabin yields a journal with cryptic entries. Fact, troop movements, missing names, supplies. Folklore. The words shift, revealing shadowy figures, night marches, warnings carried across generations. Each sentence seems alive, as if the soldiers themselves narrate from beyond. Reports of sudden alarms, unexplained fires and lights in deserted streets. Fact, wind, accidental flames or misfired signals. Folklore, spectral soldiers appear, guiding, warning, protecting. The ordinary becomes uncanny, every observation tinged with dread and awe. A phantom drumbeat echoes across the harbor. Fact, distant exercise, misheard cannon. Folklore. The sound commands attention, signaling the unseen regiment, invisible, yet organizing training, reminding the living of courage, tested beyond time. Soldiers pause at an overgrown field. Fact, terrain, rough vegetation, dense. Folklore, invisible comrades move alongside unseen hands, guiding ghostly eyes, observing. Every step is measured, every breath shared with those who have vanished, yet continue to march. Night thickens, fog rolling from river and marsh. Fact, natural conditions, low visibility. Folklore, shadows stretch, merge, and move in unison with the living, forming spectral formations that echo the regiment's lost members. Anxiety and reverence blend. Lanterns flicker unexpectedly along abandoned streets. Fact, wind failing lamps. Folklore lights mark paths, indicate danger, or recall vanished soldiers. Each glow pulses with history, illuminating both bravery and haunting. A sudden cry pierces the air. Fact, Local children stray animals or distant activity. Folklore voices of the lost, calling, warning, guiding. Soldiers' senses sharpen, aware that unseen watchers accompany their steps. The regiment reaches a ruined church on a hill. Fact, deserted structural decay. Folklore echoes of hymns, footsteps, prayers from the past. Ghostly soldiers stand alongside, silent but vigilant. The air hums with layered history. Reports of lights across the river. Fact, distant ships' lanterns. Folklore, spectral figures observe, ensuring mission, guiding the lost, marching tirelessly. Reality feels intertwined with the supernatural, every moment charged with unseen presence. Sudden movements in the forest, balked wildlife wind. Folklore, spectral soldiers emerging from mist, patrolling, guiding, observing. Every tree path and shadow carries memory and vigilance. Records from the Freedmen's Bureau show missing names. Fact, men unaccounted for. Folklore. These souls march still invisible yet essential, their courage teaching the living. Every absence reinforces haunting presence. Rumors of sudden fires in abandoned areas. Fact, mismanaged embers lightning. Folklore, spectral hands direct flames away from the regiment, protect, warn. The unseen guides maintain balance between danger and survival. Shadows lengthen unnaturally across cobblestone streets. Fact, late sun perspective. Folklore, figures of men vanished, continue to march beside living soldiers. Every stretch of shadow recalls courage and endurance. A lone cabin yields evidence of lost soldiers. Fact, personal belongings, patrol notes. Folklore, whispers of nightly marches, unseen guardians, invisible yet instructive. The past is alive, teaching caution and bravery simultaneously. Footsteps echo where none should be. Fact, stray animals, loose boards. Folklore, spectral regiment, moving unseen, protecting, guiding. Each echo amplifies tension, linking centuries of valor to present actions. Lanterns sway along abandoned streets. Fact, wind failing lamps. Folklore lights signal worn, guide mark vanished soldiers' paths. Every glow pulses with layered history connecting courage and haunting. A sudden apparition on a hill. Fact, optical illusion, low light. Folklore, spectral figure of a missing soldier, observing, teaching, warning. The line between reality and legend dissolves. Midnight fog envelops the regiment completely. Fact, natural mist. Folklore, invisible soldiers march silently alongside, guarding, observing, ensuring passage. The living regiment is never alone. Echoes of valor accompany every step, haunting, heroic, eternal. Dawn breaks over Charleston. Streets once alive with marching feet now lie empty, cobblestones slick with morning dew. Fact, many soldiers never return, names lost to records, faces erased. Folklore, whispers persist of ghostly formations, continuing their nightly patrols, shadows walking alongside the living, unseen but present. Plantation lands stretch into the horizon, cane fields swaying in silence. Fact, abandoned cabins, missing families, vanished laborers. Folklore, spectral figures roam, guiding or warning the living, carrying memories of courage and sacrifice that the written record could never capture. Scholars and locals alike recount stories of vanished men. Fact, archives incomplete documentation, fragmentary. Folklore tales passed down through generations of phantom soldiers marching silently, appearing in dreams, their presence felt in subtle ways. Every recounting strengthens the haunting legacy. Churches and cabins overgrown and weathered. Fact, structural decay, history forgotten. Folklore, echoes of prayers and songs sung centuries ago linger, harmonizing with spectral footsteps and the rhythm of long-past drums. Memory and legend weave into the land itself. Riverbanks and forests bear traces of vanished souls. Fact, men lost, escape routes uncertain. Folklore. The mist carries their shadows, guiding travelers, whispering warnings, a constant reminder that courage persists beyond physical presence. History and myth intertwine seamlessly. Lanterns flicker in abandoned streets. Moth wind and fading lamps. Folklore lights signal the unseen regiment, marking paths, offering protection. Each glow serves as a bridge between documented reality and spectral narrative, guiding imagination and memory. Streets echo with unseen footsteps. Fact, past patrols, departed men. Folklore, ghostly soldiers appear to guide, warn, or silently observe. Their vigilance continues indefinitely, a rhythm that transcends time and records. Winds carry distant sounds of drums and musket fire. Fact, occasional misfires, natural echoes. Folklore, spectral regiments, cadence, invisible yet resonant, teaching bravery, caution, and unity across generations. Every sound a lesson, every echo a story. Shadows stretch across the river. Fact, low sun, natural angles. Folklore, phantom soldiers appear in silhouette, their presence protective, instructive. Courage is preserved in memory, and haunting persists in the landscape itself. City squares and markets remain empty. Fact, abandonment, neglect. Folklore, phantom soldiers continue drills, their ghostly formations immortalized in whispered tales. Every empty street bears witness to courage, every shadow a lingering presence. Letters and journals reveal fragments of truth. Fact, troop movements, missing soldiers, vanished families. Folklore. The ink seems to shift, recounting stories of spectral guides and unseen guardians. History and legend converge, leaving a layered narrative. Fog rolls across the harbor. Fact, early morning mist. Folklore, spectral regiment marches alongside, invisible, ensuring safety and passage. Each step resonates through memory, both human and ghostly. Bells toll in abandoned churches. Fact, maintenance wind. Folklore. Beliefs echo for lost souls, marking valor, unrecorded warning the living. Each tone reinforces presence, each silence amplifies legacy. Scholars rediscover archives. Fact, incomplete records, fragmented accounts. Folklore, whispered recollections of elders' stories of spectral soldiers. The past speaks in echoes, haunting yet instructive, urging remembrance and reflection. Children still tell stories at night, from unverified sightings, oral tradition. Folklore, ghostly soldiers guiding, protecting, appearing in dreams, their vigilance eternal. Tales preserve courage when written history fails. Streets and fields remain silent yet alive. Fact, nature reclaims spaces, buildings decay. Folklore, echoes of men who marched, persist, shadows moving in rhythm with windlight and memory. Courage and haunting intertwine. Lanterns sway, shadows lengthen. Fact, evening wind. Folklore, spectral soldiers appear unseen but present, marking paths, guiding the living, ensuring lessons of bravery endure. Every movement is both real and legend. The river reflects the pale moonlight. Fact, calm water, natural reflection. Folklore, phantom soldiers appear upon its surface, silent guardians of memory and courage. Their march is eternal, crossing the boundary between fact and legend. Charleston breathes quietly, history layered beneath each stone. Fact, soldiers' lost names unrecorded. Folklore, ghostly formations continue their vigil unseen, but felt their legacy haunting the city streets, the forests, the rivers. A rhythm of valor persists. And so, the story remains unfinished. Fact archives incomplete, lives lost. Folklore, spectral soldiers continue to march, teaching courage, guiding the living, preserving memory. Your journey through their world begins now. Remember the echoes of the past, and follow the footsteps that never ended.